This week's podcast is brought to you by Southwest Tree Pros. Whether you're looking for tree trimming, tree removal, or stump grinding, give Cassidy a call for a free estimate. Fully insured and ready to help you tackle that next project. Southwest Tree Pros of Tracy, 507-828-3578.
Welcome to the 34th edition of the Headlight Hot Seat. My name is Per. I will be your host for the next half hour or so, depending on how long our guest wants to talk today. And that guest is Heather Kamrud-Rice. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you.
So we have Heather back. She's now a two-timer. She's joined the two-time club with a couple other coaches. And we're here today to talk about track and field season, which, my goodness, it's already here. Isn't it surprising, Heather, how it just all of a sudden, like we were talking about, you wake up on a Monday morning and it's track season. What is that like for you? Just because the winter season drags on.
It does.
Not in a bad way. I don't,
No.
nothing against the winter sports, but it's
Yeah.
just such a long sports season.
Just the season is long.
The season is long.
Being cold and dark and all that makes the season long. It does. And there is this, I don't know, this rejoicing feeling when track starts, knowing that the winter is finally over. We survived.
Well, I think everyone rejoices in March. Those sporadic snowstorms notwithstanding, we know we're going to get it. But just to have spring here and have some 50s and 60s, no snow.
Yes.
It's not quite green yet, but it's getting there. Do you get excited this time of year, like kind of like volleyball when fall approaches? And
Oh,
when,
I get so excited. There's also a piece of me, you know how you just mentioned we have this long winter and you kind of fall into a routine and it gets dark so early. So like my clock,
your mental
my
health-
mental
yeah.
clock that keeps me, oh, I should be busy right now. I should be sleeping right now is off. And as track approaches, I'm always thinking to myself, how do I do this? How am I going to do this? I've been coaching track for, I think this is my 14th year, 13th or 14th. And still, as the season approaches, knowing what we're about to enter, how much work it is
Yeah.
and whatnot, it just, I feel like, how am I going to do it? And then as soon as that first day, and honestly, Per, I'm not even saying this just because we're in an interview or whatever. I walked into school on Monday and I could just feel this rush. Like, I love my job. I walked in and I was like, who gets to be this lucky? Like, I'm so excited to start coaching again. And so I'm ready. I'm ready
Yeah.
for the season.
So you're doubly ready for spring because you're human and you live in Minnesota. You need spring to come as soon as possible. But also as your position as the head track and field coach, what about the kids? Are they sharing that sentiment with you?
Yes. It actually, it's what would you say? Contagious. Their energy is contagious, and I think that it comes from the coaching staff too, not just me, but the coaches that have been coaching track are so enthusiastic for the students, and we just are athletes, and it's just been so much fun that way. And
Got to be fun.
it is.
It's going to be fun. So we just started Monday a few days ago with track practice, and of course, you don't just jump into, pardon the pun, jump into everything right. What do you stress at this time of year? Is it just, I know you got to work with the younger kids, the junior high kids, and get them acclimated to what's going on. But even the older kids, their bodies are maybe not used to what you're going to put them through. So take me through maybe a typical first week or two of practice, and you're not bringing out the hurdles or the pole vault yet, are you?
Not much. We do, honestly, I roll with the weather.
Okay.
We do have to ease into it though. I mean, we're at a part of the season. Some kids have been in basketball, some kids haven't been. Some kids have been wrestling. some kids are going to throw up after 200s, and other kids are ready for a tough workout. But one thing I feel like I've learned in the past is start small, build big, because too many injuries I feel like have happened when you push too fast, too early. And it's a short season, so it's really tempting to do that. It really is. But this week, being very forgiving on the number of reps for, let's say, sprinting things, or kind of keeping the volume down a little bit. Really, I if weather would have cooperated, I would really have liked to have focused on aerobic endurance, which you just need to be outside for that. You can't do
Yeah.
aerobic endurance in a gym. It's different, and it's hard on the legs running in the gym too much like that. So, yeah, I do slow it down a little bit at the beginning. But another challenge, not just the weather, because all of my plans went out the window this week. Every single day I have had to punt because the weather just wasn't quite what, I look ahead each week and I put together a plan and I put the weather prediction next to it. So I kind of keep that in mind as I'm planning the week. And this week just was way off and nothing went as scheduled. But then you also, like I said, now I have to kind of start diversifying too, because we have a varsity track meet already on March 21st.
Right.
So that's a week, basically. We have a week to train for that. And it doesn't matter. I mean, it's, records don't really mean anything in track. It doesn't have anything to do with your seating. So it's more, your PR, you have to go for the PR. So it doesn't really matter how well they run next Saturday, but it also is a mental thing. Like, we're stepping into the season, and I have some varsity kids that are just, they would really like to see how far they could take this season, and they want to start on next Saturday. So I would like to get them outside and really stretch out their legs, really push them and get them into some tough workouts. But yeah, so between weather and kind of watering down some of the practices to make sure that I don't have a high volume of injuries. It's a challenge, but we've slowed it down a little bit, but it's been challenging.
Well, if you were a coach that was on the ball, you would have started practice Sunday when it was 68 degrees and sunny and gorgeous.
Well, that was awesome.
And then you could have just hit the ground running. Again, pardon the pun. That's my second pun. I'm out of puns already. Let's talk a little bit about strength and conditioning. Coach Greenway does such a great job with the kids. Specific to track and field, what needs to happen with these kids in the weight room as far as building up that flexibility, building up the muscle? Alex doesn't do it to build muscle for kids necessarily. He does it for things like flexibility and keeping kids, injury prevention and stuff like that. What's going on with the kids in Alex in the weight room nowadays?
A lot, like you said. We've actually, and I feel like maybe I mentioned this on the last time we talked, but Alex sort of got his start in the weight training side of things when he was a track coach.
Right.
Before he started the weight program. We would go to the track coaches clinics, and he would go to all the strength train, because there's a lot of philosophy on how to strength train for runners. But then as you listen to these people, it's like, especially in track, you're training athletes. Sometimes you go to other sports and it's more specific. This was, a little broader, because you've got runners, jumpers, throwers, sprinters, distance. So it's a different level of learning how to tailor your weight training to these athletes and all of the specific muscle groups that they're using and whatnot. And I remember it was a really exciting time, because he was so excited about learning that stuff. It just lit him up. He would geek out on it. And so I would go into a sprinting session, he'd go into a weight session, and then we'd come out and talk about it. And we had so many awesome conversations about visions for these athletes. And then that eventually led him to just going full on strength coach. But where I was going with that is a lot of that, we talked so much about that. So we do a lot of ankle work. I'm a big fan of ankle work. I think like that recoil out of the ankle when you're running is important for sprinters, for distance, for being fast.
Yeah.
And that you want to be fast in a lot of sports, not just track. We work on knee stability, even jumping stability, like strengthening the muscles that would protect you from getting injured.
Right.
And even today, when we can't get outside and stretch out our legs, well, then at least we're going to make sure we hit all of those muscle groups. We're going to do a lot of injury prevention stuff. And I think like Alex has looked into it. He kind of kept track for a while. But the year after we started he started the weight room, and we really focused on ankle work, knee work, all the stuff that we've been talking about. I think that next season we had, in track at least, we had 0 injuries.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, that's been something we really have put a lot of work into.
Yeah, kudos to Alex. Forget about wins and losses and section titles and going to state. I think what this strength and conditioning program does is it helps kids learn about their bodies and learn how to protect their bodies more. It's not, like I said, not necessarily we're going to make you this superior athlete so you can go to state. That's the ultimate goal, of course.
Yeah.
But it's more of just a healthy thing, isn't it, for the
Yeah.
kids? Because back when you and I were in school, I don't remember having an Alex Greenway hovering over me telling me how to lift this or stretch this. It was just, okay, coach said go stretch, and we stretched, and we hope for the best and not getting hurt.
Yeah, no, he is. He's very good at what he does. In fact, that season after he became the strength coach, there were 4 track meets that year that we went to where the coach came up and said, "What are you doing in Tracy?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And they wanted to know, like, that your athletes all look so strong. Like,
Really?
what's going on? And I said, actually, I would have to give a lot of that credit to our strength coach. So when you've got other coaches noticing, that's pretty impressive.
So, like you said, you have an indoor meet at Minnesota State Mankato on the 21st, and I always think that's cool that track is unique in that you guys can start in March because you have these indoor meets, 2 I think to begin the season with, right?
3.
Three indoor meets, and the baseball kids and the golfers and the softball kids, they're rolling their eyes. They're waiting for the fields to dry, the clouds to clear up. How cool is that, and or important is that to get these kids going early instead of having to sit back and let kind of Mother Nature tell you when you can compete?
Yeah. I think it's awesome. I love it. I don't know if it's necessary. Back in our day, we didn't have that option. And even, a few years ago when I first started, we went to 1 indoor meet. But so often that next week, there would be meets scheduled, but we wouldn't be able to go. It would be canceled, postponed, something.
Oh.
But getting in 3 meets, we've got, so MSU, all 3 of them are at MSU this year.
Okay.
Sometimes we go to SDSU too.
Right.
They run a really great meet. But anyway, we've been going to MSU, and the first one is just kind of an all high school meet. It's not even run by the college. It's run by a high school. The second one is a showcase meet. And that's why earlier I had kind of mentioned that some of my upperclassmen are really kind of gunning for it, because the showcase meet, you have to have qualifying times to get into. Okay. And we've already got a handful that have already made the qualifying time from last year's times.
Oh, okay.
And we've got several that are, if they can run that well at the first meet, then we'll have it in the books for them to get into the showcase meet. So that's kind of something big and early that we're gunning for. And then the relays, that one's fun. That one is a lot of really big schools.
Right.
Last year was the first year we got in it, and we were the only A team, I think. There might have been one other private school from Minneapolis that was an A team, but these were all AAA teams, you know.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And I really like it is nice to, of course, get a meet in, but honestly, it's nice to know that 3 times between now and the second week in April, for sure, my athletes are going to be able to take off their warm-ups, not worry about, you know, huddling under a blanket until right before they run, or not wanting to even go do their warm-up because it's so cold out or it's raining, or, you know, this early spring weather can really be a downer. And so when we go to these indoor meets, we shed all that other stuff. And we get to have a competitive environment where you don't have to think about the weather or how cold you are or any of that. You get to just focus on getting in your spikes, getting on the track and doing your job. And I really like that aspect of it. And it's kind of some team bonding too. It's fun to go over to the college.
Sure.
And run
Well,
there.
I know the school district's sitting on a lot of money from the construction project they had left over. Why don't you go up to Superintendent Anderson and say, hey, a dome over the football field. We don't have to have turf or anything right now, but just put a dome up. And you won't have to worry about, because the Panther One invites were right around the corner. And I know history tells us that that may or may not happen.
I know.
Even the Panther 2, a couple weeks after that, we just don't know.
No.
And is that frustrating for you? I know I talk to Bill Tower like every spring. He's got to reschedule this, and it's got to be a headache dealing with Mother Nature. Is it frustrating for you, even though you got these 3 meets under your belt?
Yeah.
You got this big home meet coming up. That's the one you really look forward to, right? The Panther Invite.
Yeah.
And now it's raining or it's 35 degrees out. It's got to be frustrating a little bit.
It is. I hate when bad weather comes in and we have to make the call. Are we going to have a meet? Are we not going to have a meet?
Yep.
And very often, like you said, the Panther one doesn't happen. It's usually, I think, second week in April.
Second Monday in April. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the 4th is the Panther 2.
It's 2 weeks later.
Yep.
And I mean, it is frustrating. And I just went, every time I go to these coaching clinics, I get really inspired, of course. And this year, I was thinking, I'm going to just plan everything out. I'm going to be the most organized. I'm going to get everything planned out. And that saying, what is it? God laughs at well-made plans or something like that. Yeah, well, he was laughing.
Yeah.
Because even this week, I made out all the plans. I had it ready, and I haven't been able to follow my plans at all. And so, the weather does that. And then meets, you have to decide, do you want your kids to run in these conditions or not run in these conditions? And it's frustrating, but
And there's not a darn thing you can do about it.
no, but then
it's
I
the
have
weather.
to say that on the other side of that is the meets where it's beautiful out. And I walk around on the infield of that track, and I just might be one of the happiest places ever for me, sunshine and watching kids compete, and they're loving it because it's nice out. And I think that feeling, absolutely, I have way more of those feelings than I do of the frustration about having to change a schedule or something.
Well, I'll take maybe 68 degrees and partly cloudy every track meet that I cover, because I've been to some hot ones, and you have too. You get into sections in Redwood Falls or in Pipestone, and it's humid and it's hot and it's sticky. What's the best kind of condition for these kids? Is it that humid heat, or is it kind of like
Usually.
60 degrees?
Yeah, I would say right around 70.
Okay.
70, 75. They even like 75. Occasionally, I do have some athletes that really do like 90 degrees. They like
Ugh.
to bring on the heat. I like to sweat, but yeah, most of the kids like 70 degrees.
I've been told runners like it cool,
Yeah.
and that's right.
Well, and I would venture to guess that a lot of those runners are distance runners.
Yeah, Mara not comes to mind. I always talk to her, and
Yep,
she
she
says,
did
"I don't
like
mind.
the cold."
I like it cold."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Last year, you had a couple kids at state. Others were close. Let's talk about this year's team a little bit. What do you have coming back, experience-wise, upperclassmen? I know the goal is for everyone to get their PR right away and keep improving on that, perform well in sections and whatnot. But let's talk about a couple kids here, Heather. You got some experience coming back, don't you?
We do. We have some. We're really heavy ended on the junior high side,
Oh,
which
okay.
is now no longer junior high. It's called C Squad. Whole different
Oh,
Minnesota State High School League rules thing.
oh, let's not get into state
know,
high school
right?
league talk.
So-
I don't want to swear on the air.
So, I was just thinking of you swearing. Where am I going with this again?
The younger kids, real good foundation there
so
with
we
a
have
lot.
a really good group coming up. 7th and 8th grade is really, really heavy. We've got some really strong 10th graders coming in. And then it just kind of gets smaller as you get into the juniors and the seniors. The numbers get smaller. We've got one senior girl this year, Lene Odom. And she is, she's a hurdler and a sprinter.
Yep.
And she is talented, and I feel like at the very end of last year, well, actually, her and Raylyn Schreier are two of the sprinting hurdles. Well, 300 hurdles also. They're both going to be coming in with some fast times.
That's some of that experience, but it's young experience.
It's
I
young
think that's what I meant to say.
It really is. And Lene is going to bring some experience. She really started clicking. Like, sometimes hurdlers do that, with technical events. There's sometimes those moments of, and Lene really started clicking with the hurdles last year.
Okay.
Her form, I think it was just her ability to attack them instead of jumping over them or timing things. She was just sprinting and attacking the hurdles so well at the end of the season. And she came in the summer with some work. And so I'm really excited to see what she's going to do in the hurdles as our only senior girl.
Wow.
Then on the boys, we've got Tyler Arnold, who I think has been on varsity since 7th grade, or at least been running some varsity meets since 7th grade. And he's kind of been the all-around. He's done literally he's his own story in track. He's done every event except, and I can't remember, it's either the 300 hurdles or the 2 mile. But there's only
I think you said 2 mile in the store for my story.
Was it? Okay.
On Tyler.
Okay.
Who just signed a letter of intent to run at St. John's.
Yes. So he's done everything through the years. And as of late, the last couple of years, has just almost been like a relay specialist. And part of that's because the kids are like, Tyler, you should run in this relay. And I know coaches make the decision in the end, but he beats out the other kids. So he's always in the top 4 of the, like throughout the years, he's been in the top 4 for the 100, top 4 for the 200, top 4 for the 400, even top 4 for the 800.
Right.
And so like he's eaten that up, but now it's his time to shine. This year, we really want to focus on his individual events. Not to say he won't run relays, because
Well, he's Tyler. He's going to.
Tyler. He's going to.
You're not going to stop him from doing that.
And the other kids are going to be bummed if they don't get Tyler on at least some of those relays. But we really want to make sure that we give him a shot at his individual events. Eli Lightfoot is also a senior coming in, and he's probably honestly more built for like distance running, but he just decided, and I told him, he told me he just didn't like it. This is 2 years ago, And I said, all right, well, we really need to work on your form, we can turn you into a sprinter, but it's going to, we have to change a lot of things. And he's just been gunning for it. And every year he gets closer and closer. And this year he, at practice, I was watching him run, and I turned to Brittany Peterson, one of the assistant coaches, and I said, I wish I had footage, side by side footage of Eli when he first started running, like running 800s, and now how he runs. He's totally changed his form. He's up tall. He's got big knees. He's ready, and he looked good. Those long legs, usually you don't think of sprinters as having his build, but Aiden Swenhagen was the same thing, his long legs.
It just came to mind, yeah.
As long as you can have fast steps, one step is still like two for some of those kids. So Eli takes advantage of that, and he's been looking good. And let's see, then we have Hunter Ostegard. Hunter is just naturally fast.
Yep.
Sprinter, 100, 200 runner, very specialized in those. We worry a little bit. Hunter sometimes has injury things, tight muscles. He's got that tight sprinter muscles, so we have to worry about injuries with him. But Hunter is gunning for Aiden's record. So we'll see if he can do that.
In the hurdles?
In the 200.
In the 200.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say, well...
Oh, I'm thinking Cade in the hurdles.
Yeah, you're thinking
I'm
Cade.
way off base on that one.
Yeah.
My apologies to the Swenhagen boys.
Yeah. So Hunter's got some big goals this year. And if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Then we have Adam Hippie. He is a thrower. I think he's been thinking about doing some running. He was in cross country this fall.
Right.
But his number one focus is throwing. I think he's our top thrower too this year. So and he's been going to camps. He led a week's worth of captain's practices. He really wanted to get on it. So it'll be really exciting to see what he can do this year. And Damian Crooks is a pole vaulter. Last year, he, I don't remember his PR, but he really made some strides at the end of the season, like going from, it was his first year. He went from just figuring it out to being really competitive at all the meets, And so I think he's gone to a couple of camps too now. And so I think he's really ready to go. And
That's like 5 senior boys?
is that 5 senior boys?
I think we rattled off 5.
Okay. Then I might not be missing anybody. Who I have? Eli, Tyler, Damian,
Hunter.
Adam, Hunter. Yep, that is. Yep. And then Lene is. So those are the seniors that we're looking at.
Okay.
And then I could go on and on. We have the sophomore boys that are just gunning. Like at practice, watching them work is just, it makes my whole heart smile. We've got some junior kids. Same thing. I could go down the list. I have a lot of kids that just have some really big goals.
It seems like it's going to be an exciting year. But now, as good as the kids are or potentially can be, they're nothing without the coaches. Monday's first practice, you had a little session with the junior high kids on the big screen there, kind of introducing the coaches, which I thought was really neat because sometimes I know the kids know the faces of these, they're teachers. Let's be honest, like Mitchell Burkle, and they might not have him for class, so maybe they recognize him, but they don't know him. And you did a nice job of introducing these people. And like I said, they're so important. And you've had some of these around for a while. Let's just quickly go through each one of them. Let's start with Mrs. Swenhagen.
All right, Alicia. Alicia she started as a volunteer coach. Just kind of funny. She told this story up at our coaches clinic and I honestly, I don't remember this verbatim, but I had been talking to her about like maybe, I think this was when I was I had just taken the head coaching position for track. Anyway, and I was talking about what am I going to do and who's going to be the assistants and all of that. And she was like, well, if there's anything she just kind of very casually, and Alicia, she's helping everybody out all over the place.
Yeah.
And so she threw it out there. If you need anything, just let me know. I can help. And I was like, well,
Careful what you wish for.
I know. How serious are you about that? And she said, no, I'm serious. You can call me. And now she joked. She's like, yeah, now 3 years or 4 years later or whatever it is, she's been assisting me in volleyball and in track.
Right.
And she has been really focused in throwing the last couple of years. Like, she's been a throwing coach since she started volunteering for us. But she goes to these coaches clinics and she watches videos and she talks to other coaches, and she's been to some of these clinics with the throwers, and she has learned. She's just like soaking it all up.
Right.
And right now, when I looked over at our first practice outside, I looked over at the rings, and we only have 2 outdoor rings for shot and 1 for discus. We're hoping to like problem solve that, but in the meantime, there's Alicia, and Nikki Hippie is one of the volunteer coaches. So she was out there too. And there are like 17 throwers.
Wow.
It was crazy. And for
That's
perspective,
awesome.
for anybody that doesn't know much about track, I mean, it's in the last few years, we'd usually have maybe, like 5 guys and 3 girls over there throwing. And so this has been huge. And a part of that's because she just brings a lot of energy too. She's enthusiastic for the athletes. She's always trying to better herself. She's always trying to learn more. And as an assistant, she just makes me feel more confident. Like, I know she'll disagree with me openly if she really thinks that, you know what I mean? And
You need that though too.
you do, you need that. You need that. And you need that with someone that you trust. And so I'm really lucky in track that I'm surrounded by that, because I get the same thing from Brittany Peterson, who also, another one of my assistants, has this long history of coaching. Before she moved to Tracy, I think it was in Fridley, she coached in the cities.
Okay.
For a high school up there. She was a strength coach. She coached track and she coached volleyball. And I know she's been busy a lot and just hungry. She just misses that environment of coaching. And so she just comes alive out there for the kids. She brings knowledge. She brings energy. She brings discipline. And one thing, too, is we all have the same style of interacting with the kids. None of us are. I'm not a yeller. I mean, if you've ever seen me at a track meet, I cheer so loud I almost pee myself. But I'm not a yeller. Not to say I never yell. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
But it's not my go-to.
You'd be lying if you did, because every coach does it.
Every coach does
I've
it.
never seen it. I've seen all 100% support from you when at a track meet, and it's encouragement. And I think that's what kids need more than. It's not that you don't want to discipline them, but during a meet in the track setting, come to think of it, I've never seen really any coach of any school like come down on their kid. It's always cross country is the same way. It's always uplifting and positive, and I think that's really cool. And then we have Brita Freaky too. To save a little time, I wanted to mention her, and then finish up with Mitchell. What a coup to have him, because I know he put his resignation in. He'll be leaving the school district after this school year, but my gosh, to have him on this coaching staff. He coached with Billy Dean on the cross country team last fall. How important is he? Not just to have a male voice in there.
Yeah.
But 5 years at Winona State running,
Yep.
That's pretty darn good.
That is really, really good. And it's at the opposite spectrum of where I've put my focus.
Okay.
I've put so much time into sprinting and hurdles. And I was a distance runner in my adult life, so I understand it and I have learned about it, but I've never competed the way that Mitchell Berkeley
Right.
has at that. And so, and then even coaching. So not only has he been a successful high school athlete, he went to state. I think he said he was a 2-time state entrant in high school. And then going on and running yourself for 5 years in college, he also coached last year. And the coach that he coached under took his team to state as a team. So he's had some really great experience. And I really look forward because we've got more and more. This was exciting, I think, and it was part of this cross country. Billy Dean and Mitchell Berkeley coaching the cross country and WWG bringing in a coach.
Right.
There was the most cross country runners we've had in a long time. And now it kind of trickled into track where every year I've got a ton of sprinters and nobody wants to run distance. This year I've got several kids that want to stretch past the 400.
Those cross country kids.
Yep, it's a lot of those cross country kids. They want to run 800s miles. I still don't have a 2-miler, but I know it's going to come.
These programs are kind of feeding off each other in a way, aren't they?
Yes. Yes, I love it.
That's really cool.
But he'll bring in more of that knowledge for those distance runners then. And I know I've got a couple runners that can't wait for him to be their rabbit too. You know, like someone to get out and wonder if I can try to hang with him. So
cool. It should be a very exciting spring. Good luck to you and the team and your coaches this spring, Heather. And you are off the hot seat. Thank you.
all right, thank you.
This week's podcast was brought to you by Southwest Tree Pros. Whether you're looking for a tree trimming, tree removal, or stump grinding, give Cassidy a call for a free estimate. Fully insured and ready to help you tackle that next project. Southwest Tree Pros of Tracy, 507-828-3578.